The blizzard will arrive in 60 seconds. Please enter a building and light a fire to stay warm. The blizzard has passed.